Last week, Scott Jenstad pegged his second winner of the year with Scottie Scheffler at 24-1. Can he do the same this week for a loaded field at the Genesis Invitational? Stay tuned. Welcome to Gaming Golf, the Genesis Invitational Edition here. Jeff Erickson here. I am joined by Jeff Ritter from SI Golf and, of course, Scott Jenstad from RotoWire, also known as the guy that picks winners for us. So, Scott, congratulations on nailing another one with Scottie Scheffler, 24-1, right?
24-1. I have to give credit. I believe Jeff took him at one and done, didn't he?
It was my pick on the show, but what happened was I did not. After we got off the air, I had to go pick my kids up from school.
You pulled an Erickson on us.
I know. I didn't get the pick in the pool.
You blame the kids too. Look at that.
I know. Just
wow. Won't somebody think about the children?
I know. So I did. I picked a winner for the people who listen to this show. If they listen to the show and made their picks off the show, they won money. I did not.
Ritter, you'll be fired up. I obviously know Jeff Erickson was at the Super Bowl. You'll be happy to know that I did text him, even though the Bengals were losing, when Scheffler made his putt on third playoff hole, because I was so excited. And everybody in my house was mad at me because I kept flipping over to put the golf on, and like they wanted to watch the commercials instead of the golf, and it was a funny battle. But I did. I was so fired up about it that I bugged Jeff at the Super Bowl with his team losing. That's how important it was to me.
And I responded
right
away too.
You did, yeah.
Not only that, then I got a notification I won money on DraftKings because that was useful. Made a pick in my NFBC or not in my First Pitch Arizona Speakers NFBC draft there, baseball draft while at the game. So making history all over there. But nobody cares among our dozens of listeners about that. So let's talk about golf. First of all, great tournament. Obviously, Scheffler got the W. Jeff, got to give you credit. You are all over Thigala. You picked him up in our league. You talked him up on our pod. You got to enjoy the fruits of that in our league. Did you roster him in DraftKings too?
I did. Yeah,
nice.
I had a good week in DraftKings. I just feel bad. I mean, blowing the one and done pool like that one's gonna sting throughout the season. But
yeah,
Thigala, Thigala. I just gotta say, like, you can just set your watch to it every year, like February, March, April, where you're going to start talking about, these young players today, they're just show up ready to win, and you never see them coming until they get there. It's always somebody. And so I just felt like he was someone with a pedigree. Like the one thing I look for from young players or, Corn Ferry rookies or whoever they are is I like wins. And so that was the one thing with Thigala is he won everything you could win in college at Pepperdine and earned his way on. So I just felt like in our season-long league, I felt like it was a surprise that we play in a very competitive, I would argue perhaps the most competitive fantasy golf league in the entire world. But we can break down, the numbers on why. I've got numbers to support that. Half the people are writing the articles that, are out there on fantasy golf. But anyway, right. I was surprised he slipped through. And so when Thigala was still available, I made a quick move, and it is paying off. It looks like it's already paid off. Got lucky there.
Other than the rare Morikawa, Wolf, and Hovland class, usually it's year 2 that you want these guys that are fresh out of college. You don't want to get them right when they make their debut, but you want to get them in their first full season.
It's happening more though. I mean, DeChambeau came out and he was, if you're talking about like a free agent pickup in a season-long league, I believe he was top 20 in his first Masters as a pro. Like it does happen. And it's happening more, I guess. But there's also more guys, and there's more churn of like these college stars, and some of them get lost in the shuffle or they can't get into the right events either. So, it's not easy to necessarily identify who it's going to be, but every year I feel like there's somebody.
They do hit the crap out of the ball. That's one common denominator. You get a lot more distance. The younger, you got this whole wave of young guys where Tiger was alone when he came out like that and was smacking the ball, 20, 30 yards over everyone. Now you got all these young guys are crushing it there. And, Bryson's going to start this next wave of guys that are going to be beefy like smack the ball around guys. Although I don't know, maybe this wrist injury that he's suffering now might deter some people too. But I don't know. I do think that it's one of those where you got a lot more young guys that are more equipped for today's game than they were in maybe previous years.
Yeah, I mean, and Thigala, he just sounds like he's a 10-year veteran. Not only they have the game, but they just sound the part as well. They're just like prepared in all aspects on and off the course, nutrition, fitness, like everything is just in place for these guys to just walk right onto the tour and compete. And there's just going to be more stories like this year after year.
And the most impressive thing with Thigala was, I mean, he's this is not like, the Sanderson Farms or, something like that. He was playing in the last group with stud players, behind him, with him, and just kind of, I mean, until the last 3 holes, hung in the whole way, just playing as well as those guys. It was a really impressive weekend for a young guy like that.
For sure. And I was impressed how he had that double on 2, I think, on Saturday.
Yep.
You're like, okay, Cinderella's shoe is, Cinderella's, like, I'm not even going to finish this analogy, but you know what I mean?
It was a slipper, Jeff.
Midnight.
Yes, slipper.
Something about midnight.
Yeah.
You're suddenly your daughters grow up and you don't remember the Disney stories anymore.
True. Yeah. But he rallied, and that's the thing. He was in the final group again Sunday. It's like, and leading on Sunday for a big chunk of that too. Hats off to him. I think there's gonna be better days ahead for him for sure. However, this week is insane, guys. All top 10 players in the world are here. As Len Hochberg's article points out, it's the first time in 15 years that it's happened at a non-major WGC or playoff event. This is, at a quote unquote regular tournament. First time in 15 years. That's insane. And second time in 28 years. Just makes you realize what a worldwide schedule it is, and B, how regularly guys are going to take some time off, and they do stagger it a little bit there.
And see, when Tiger invites you to do something, you come do it.
Yes, that's right. Just don't get in his car. But
too soon. Too soon.
Well, he was driving so fast. I'm
too soon.
Kind of annoyed. But anyways, all right. Let's break down this field. We got 5. Nonetheless, despite the loaded field, we're going to have some guys at good prices because of the loaded field. We've got 5 guys in the 5 digits. Rahm at 11.3, down a couple of notches. Cantlay up to 11,000. JT at 10.7. Morikawa at 10.4. DJ at 10.2. Scott, who do you like in this group, and why is it Morikawa?
It's almost always Morikawa, right?
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I think this is a roster build question more than anything, because I mean, I love all 5 guys in this group. I think that even DJ is interesting just because, I mean, he plays so well here. 10 top 10s in the last 13 starts here. As I was building rosters, I think I'm going to play 2 guys in the 9s and 1 guy in the 8s. So I don't think I'll be getting up here very much. In a team where I think I'm actually going to go Justin Thomas at 10.7. Wow. He hit it great last week, gained 12.7 tee to green, 7.0 pros. He just putted really badly. But it's funny. We talk about how, these guys are so expensive, but the reason is because they're so damn consistent. Like, there was no Rahm or JT talk on Friday or Saturday. Like, they were kind of in the mix. They weren't really there. They weren't in the leaderboard. And all of a sudden it's Sunday and, the back 9.
Both top 10s.
Both of them are in the top 10. Like, it's just that, like, they just don't have bad rounds. I saw a stat today that Rahm's last round over par was at the Open Championship last year. So, like, July of 2021. Not a tournament over par, a round over par on the PGA Tour, which is wild. So, I mean, I would have no issue playing on Rahm, but I'm going to go Thomas. I know he missed a cut here the last couple of years, but he finished second in 2019. So that's some wild putting swings here, either really good or really bad. But, he lost 2.8 strokes putting last week and still finished 8th. You give me an average putting week from JT with how well he's hitting the ball right now. That's who I'm going to play in this top range. I wouldn't argue against Rahm or Cantlay. Cantlay finishes top 10 every week, it seems. But if I got to pick one, I'd give me JT this week.
I think I would go Cantlay off this tier, but I agree with Scott that it's more intriguing to build from one tier down from here. I kind of feel like Cantlay should be the highest priced golfer this week. I mean, Rahm's been very, very good, but Cantlay's just also hitting another gear right now. He's got a great track record at Riv. I kind of I don't know. I look at it. I expected Cantlay's name to be at the top of the price sheet this week, and I was surprised it wasn't. So to me, it's rare that you say any of the $10,000 guys are bargains, but I sort of felt like Cantlay might be a little bit mispriced. Still tough.
So am I going to get Morikawa at a cheaper price? I mean, a lesser not cheaper price, but lower ownership?
You definitely are this week.
Okay, sign me up then. I'm in. Because that's what I was planning on doing anyhow, is using him. But One other thing that Riviera has talked about, it's not like a super long course. It's known for being tight. It's known for the Kikuya grass really punishing you if you go in the rough. Yet the track record of bombers here is so good. It's the bombers that win here. Holmes has won here. Bubba has a great track record here. Should we be looking for the bombers this week?
I think you do, because the fact that it's so difficult to hit the fairways anyway. So even the short hitters are going to miss fairways. It's the second most difficult course on tour last year to hit the fairways. Third most difficult to hit the greens. You have just so many approaches over 175. It's not, you talk about not the distances, because the par fives aren't hugely long. There's only 3 of them. None of them over 600 yards, but there's 7 par fours over 450. Like, so it may not be a total, and it's not like a total length long. You're right about that. It's like it's 7,300, 7,200 yards, but there's just a lot of long par fours that are tough. You've got to hit your irons, this 175 to 225 range. There's a lot of shots in that range. It's hard to hit fairways. It's hard to hit greens here. If you can bomb it down, if people are going to be in the rough anyway, give me a rough shot from 125 or 175 every day. So I think that's where the bombers get a little bit of an edge.
It's kind of like the Bryson.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think around the green is an interesting stat this week too, from what Scott just said, that there are greens to be missed out there. And I think that this is one course where that's a stat that I pull up higher to the top, closer to the top of the pile in terms of what you look at.
That's a good one. That's a good point. Reminds me of Bryson 2 years ago at the Open. Everyone's like, oh, Bryson can't contend with this high rough, and he's like, watch me. I'm just going to bomb it. I'll be digging out with my wedges while you're digging out with your 7 irons. I'll be digging out with my 7 iron while you're digging out with your 4 iron. And if everyone's going to miss the fairway anyhow, I think that's a really good point. Let's move down to the next tier, the 9,000s. Xander's 99, Rory's at 97, Hovland at 94, Matsuyama at 93, Scheffler 92, Cam Smith at 91, and Brooks at 9,000. Wow, what a grouping in the 9,000s. Jeff Ritter, is there anyone you don't like in this group?
No, not really. I mean, in case for all, I might pass on Scheffler just because first win of his career, maybe a reset week, but otherwise, I would try to build off 2 of these guys. I mean, I think Cam Smith is really interesting and just fitting that bill of a guy who has the around the green game that I was referencing earlier. Also, where did he go after Hawaii? I think this is his first time back. But I wouldn't forget, to me, he feels underpriced. I think Koepka's underpriced where he is. I mean, he could have won in Phoenix, and certainly it's all coming back together for Koepka. So I think that's a low number for him. And then I think Victor Hovland, I know he missed the cut in Phoenix, but I don't know. Phoenix is its own beast. He was really playing some of the best golf in the world in the first part of this year. So that also feels like a low number for him as well. And then you got Rory in the 9s. I mean, God, you tell me, but those are the names that jump out, which frankly, most of the names do jump out off this tier.
Yeah, I love this tier. I think I'm going to play 2 guys on this tier on most of my teams as I build. And the 3 I'm going to be picking mostly from are Xander at 9,900. I think that, he didn't get it done last week, but still finished third, hit it fantastically well, gained 13 strokes tee green, 4.9 off the tee, 4.2 in approach. Just lost strokes putting and could not make a putt on Sunday. It was painful.
Especially at number 10. In number 10 all tournament. He was like within 10 feet every time and couldn't make a birdie. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. That front 9 on Sunday, just couldn't make a putt. I mean, everybody's, making a birdie here and there, and he just had 8 straight pars, just kind of got passed up by everybody. But he's played here 4 years. He's never finished outside of the top 25, only one top 10, but, give me that nice consistency and contending. And then, so with Xander, I'm going to go a lot of Rory this week. Last time he was on the PGA Tour, he won his tournament in October. He played 2 tournaments late in January in Europe. He was T12 at Abu Dhabi, 3rd at Dubai, and I think he led late and got passed at the very end. But top 5 in 2019 here, top 5 in 2020, missed the cut last year, but some good history at Riviera. And I think anytime you're going to get Rory under 10, anytime you get Rory at 22-1, not to spoil a bet later, but I'm just going to jump on that whenever I can. And my third guy here is actually Hideki. I think Hideki is just hitting the ball perfectly right now. He gained 6.4 tee to green, 5.1 approach last week. He's gained in tee to green like to a big amount at all 4 tournaments he's played in 2022 so far. Top 10 here in 2020 and 2019. I think he'll be a little less rostered than the other 2, but those are going to be my 3. I'm going to play 2 of them together on a lot of teams this week.
Interesting group. I mean, I can't find a reason to fade any of them. That's the problem. Maybe Scheffler, like Jeff referred to there, about coming off a win, but I like all of them. That's the tricky part.
I'm not playing Brooks, not hitting the ball well enough for me. I know he finished third, but he just gained a ton of strokes putting last week. Gained six strokes putting, and on Sunday, he kept hitting the ball in the desert, in the sand. He was all over the place and just would make a 15-footer to kind of save himself. But I look at his recent ball striking, and it's just not good enough for me to go with him over these guys. But I mean, he's Brooks. He can turn it on and flip a switch at any point. I fully acknowledge that. But if I had to pick someone to not play in this group, for me, it'd be him.
Yeah, I like how he talked about he was like 17th or 19th in the world. He's like, that's embarrassing and all that. Like, who else says stuff like that? I love it. Let's move on to the 8,000s tier here. Jordan Spieth at 89, Will Z at 88, Sam Burns 87, Sung J M at 86, Bubba at 85, Finau 84, Homa 83, Adam Scott 82, Fitzpatrick 81, Taylor Gooch at 8,000. Scott, it's your turn to go first again, and I think I'm going to preempt you again because I'm going to guess you're going to say Matt Fitzpatrick.
He's definitely one of my main plays here for sure at 8,100. He was 10th at Phoenix, 6th at Pebble, just playing really well right now. He gained 7.2 to tee green and 4.2 in approach last week in Phoenix. He was 5th at Riviera last year too, so like a good course history play last year. I think he's a little bit underpriced. I like him probably more than anybody else in this tier. I do like Adam Scott this week at 8,200. I think Bubba's gonna be popular. I'll get that out of the way. He's won 3 times here, which is pretty wild. And he played well last week. Played well in that tournament where Harold Varner Jr. Made the 120-foot putt to beat him. So good form. Riviera plays really well for lefties. Lefties with a fade, it sets up really nicely. Mike Weir's won here. Phil's won here. Bubba's won here 3 times. But I like Adam Scott here too. Good course history. Won here in 2020, 7th in 2019. Had back-to-back top 10s his last 2 Euro events before he came over in Phoenix last week. And I think maybe last week was kind of a get back to the U.S., get used to it. He played okay, small gains and tee green off the tee. But I like Adam Scott at 8,200 and kind of a play off maybe everybody going with Bubba and Homa, the defending champ last week. And I wouldn't argue against Will Z, obviously, either. Playing really well before he had the COVID vacation there. Hit it amazingly well at Torrey. Gained 12.4 tee to green, 7.9 approach. So I think that if you want to go up in the 8, he's my play, but I like Scott and Fitzpatrick in the lower 8s.
Jeff, are you going with TK Gooch?
You grab my thunder at the end. I like Will Z a lot off this tier. I think he's underpriced. He was out with COVID, right? He was about to play at Pebble, and then he's been sort of derailed here for a couple of weeks, but he was playing so well. Also, I was just thinking, now is Scottie Scheffler's won. So who is the best player on tour without a win? Like it might be Zalatoris. It might also be Fitzpatrick.
I was gonna say it's one of those two we just talked about.
It's in this tier. So I like Fitzpatrick a lot. I knew Scott was going to talk about him, but I think Zalatoris is my second favorite choice off the 8,000s.
How do you guys feel about Homa as the defending champ? Plays well in California. Won here last year, obviously. Any like there?
I like him. I think I just like the other guys more, but I could certainly see dropping him into DFS lineups, especially at this price.
Yeah, I could see it. He played well over the weekend. Saturday was a big day for him. I could see it. All right. Before we move on to the 7s, because there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of guys in the 7s and all that, but we do have to share a quick note from our Blue Wire sponsors. All right. That was a good quick note. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's talk about the 7,000s. There's, again, it's a deep pool. Although I will say that actually it's not as crazy as before, in part because it's a 120-man field. It's an invitational. It's not an open. So a little bit smaller, might dictate also some strategy later on, but we'll get into that. But let's go by 500s here first, though. From 75 to 79, we got Mark Leishman, 79, Russell Henley, 79. Sergio is back, 78 for him. Neiman, 78. Kokrak, 77. Answer, 77. Paul Casey, there's a name we haven't mentioned in a long time, at 76. Kevin Na, 76. Seamus Power, Alex Noren, Tom Hoagie, all at 75. Jeff Ritter, who do you like in this group?
I would say we're stopping at 75. I like Kevin Na a lot at 76. It's that around the green game again, and he's kind of becoming a big game hunter as his career advances for some reason. This was one of the events I thought about actually when I plucked him out of the auction onto my fantasy golf team. I just feel like he tends to play well early in the year, and I pegged him hopefully to be playing well this week. So I'll be putting a lot of Kevin Na in lineups this week. Friend of the podcast, Abe Answer, I want to see a little bit more, but I feel like this is another one where you can make a statement, in this field. And for a lot of last year, it seemed like he was making a statement every week. So I'm flagging him now that he's down below 8,000, but you'd like to see a little bit more. And I also think, we're stopping at 75. All right, I've got more below 75, but I'll stop there. I think Na's my favorite in this.
Okay. Range. Scott?
Answer hasn't finished top 35 in 4 tournaments here. I would have guessed that would happen. He's such a good player. It's weird that he's just struggling right now. But I have 2 guys in this range. My first is Paul Casey, who's someone that I always like to play. Finished 12th in Dubai in late January. I know he hasn't been in the U.S. for a while, but you look at his career here, 7 for 7, cut to Genesis, just plays really well here, really solid. I think it's 7,600. I want guys to get into the cut this week. There's going to be, with a smaller field, you're going to have to get 6 of 6 because it's just there's going to be a lot of people who get 6 of 6 this week because there's not 150 guys in this tournament, is 120 or whatever. My other guy is kind of a recent form play, someone that I really liked earlier last year is Joaquin Neiman. Struggled a little bit late in the year, but then played really well at Torrey. He gained 7.6 tee to green, 3.7 approach. That was the only PGA event, but kind of a similar course. There's a lot of course similarities between Torrey and Riviera. California course is pretty long. So I think Neiman is one of those guys I think is super talented. Kind of has 8,500, 9,500 talent in DraftKings prices, but it hasn't played a lot. But give me a T6 at Farmers. I really like that 7,800 in this range.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm glad Casey, I always love it when I get him cheap. I don't like him as when he's in the 9,000s when it's a weaker field. I love it when I get him and some of these guys in the next grouping, even lower. We're going to mention the ball strikers. When you get them at a good cheap price, it's always fun. To that end, let's talk about the guys 7,000 to 7,400. There's a good copious group of them. Luke List, 7,400. Thomas Peters, 7,400. Patrick Reed, 74. At 73, we got Corey Connors. That's the guy I was alluding to, although his form's terrible right now. Also at 73, Siwoo Kim, Cameron Chingali, Sahith Theegala again. At 72, Keegan, Maverick McNeely, Lanto Griffin, Biz Wiedenhut. At 71, Bobby Mack, Harold Vonner, Mac Hughes, and Adam Hadwin. Hadwin. I always like to say he had one win, but I think that's probably defaming him just a little bit. And then 7,000s, Johnny Vegas, Ryan Palmer, Carlos Ortiz, Van Royen, and Molinari, Francesco Molinari, that is. Scott, you like anybody in this grouping?
I'm going to let Jeff go first. He said he likes this range, so I'm going to let him go first.
Francesco is sneaky down there at 7,000. He's off to a good start this year. He was top 10 at Riv last year. Former major win. I mean, he sort of had his run a few years ago, but he's quietly seems like he's putting it together. And I think you get down to low 7s. If you're making the cut, you're probably winning. I like him a lot. I also think, where'd he go? Well, Theegala, I wouldn't stay away from. I think Theegala at this point, you're wondering how long you can ride the wave, but he really does seem like he has the all-around game that is going to travel. So at that price, I'm not scared. But the other guy, of course, he's becoming the people's pick up the podcast. Christian Bizwiedenhout. The more we get comfortable saying his name, the more he continues to lurk in the top 15 at these tournaments. And I don't know. I still think he's got a big game he's gonna break through, and this would be the type of high impact tournament where it could happen. But he's been playing well this year, and I'm watching him at that price.
So I'm a card carrying Bizwiedenhout fan, but I don't like him here because I think you need to be longer off the tee, and that's not his game.
Perhaps.
Give me Bobby Mack for 100 less if we're going to go in that range. But Scott, who do you like in this group?
So this is a really important range for me this week. I was playing around lineups, and if I go 2 9s and an 8, I've got. If I just went, I just plugged it in to try it out. I did Adam Scott, McIlroy, and Xander. I have $7,400 left for 3 guys, so I'm going to need a couple guys in this range for sure. If I get somewhere in the 6s, I can go up a little bit. But important range for me. I do like 3 guys here. I'm going to go. First guy is Thomas Peters at 7,400. Is playing really well around the world right now. He won the Portuguese Masters in November. Then he won Abu Dhabi in late January, and he's 12th at Dubai. Like, that's 2 wins in the T12 and 3 tournaments on the Euro Tour. He was second here in 2017, so a little bit of course history. I know it's 5 years ago, but he's played here. I know it's his first PGA start in a long time, but his game is peaking right. We always a guy we thought was really talented. Can hit the ball far too. He's a good putter. I really like his chances here. He's got a little blow up in him. He can, if he kind of goes sideways, he gets mad and kind of freaks out a little bit. But I do like him this week at 7,400. I also like Keegan again. I think I'm going back to him. He had a really bad Saturday in Phoenix, but bounced back. I think he shot 66 on Sunday, finished 26. Like at the price, if you played him, I had him in a lineup that did really well. Unfortunately, it was 5 of 6. Otherwise, it would have been really, really well. But played, for the price, filled in nicely. Gained 6.4 tee to green and 2.8 approach. Again, it's all on the putting. If he can just putt average, he's probably a top 25 guy. If not, maybe he misses the cut. But finished 4th here in 2015. Has struggled since then, especially with the putting. But I do think he's hitting the ball really well right now. And my third guy here is Islando Griffin. 3 2022 tournaments. He's been top 30 in all 3 of them, including a 3rd at Amex. Gained nicely in tee to green in all 3 tournaments. He's 2 for 2 in cuts at Riviera, 26 here last year. I think he builds a nice little resume for being a pretty good spot here at 7,200.
Interesting names. I mean, this is a fun tier for me.
It is.
And it's as you alluded, it's necessary. And if you're going with a guy in the 5-digit range, I mean, you're definitely looking at fishing in this tier too. I mean, it's definitely, you got to get your cheapies right. Let's look at these.
Do you guys ever think that Patrick Reed would be in this range and none of us would be playing him? Is that wild?
It is. I kind of want my money back on that pick in our season-long auction.
How much did you pay for him?
25. Not huge, but it's not.
He's not. I mean, I looked at him when I saw
that off.
I saw the price. I was like, I got to look at this, and he's just not playing well.
He's not playing a lot either.
Yeah.
Usually you're like, oh, he's going to play a ton of tournaments, but he played a lot in the fall, so maybe that explains a little bit. But he played Farmers. He had to play Farmers, and he played the American Express, and that's it. That's the list. Didn't play Phoenix last week. A little surprised at that, but then again, he is not what you would call a fan favorite, and he might have been the target of some verbal abuse. So
he's played 3 tournaments in 2022. He's lost tee to green in all 3, lost off the tee in all 3. He's now lost tee to green in 8 straight tournaments with StatCast or whatever it's called. Yeah, StatCast stuff. 8 in a row for a world-class golfer as well. You never see 8 in a row with anything, and he's lost shots here again 8 in a row. I mean, it seems impossible to me. It's wild.
It is possible though. So.
It is. He is fully bad right now. It's wild.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the Uber cheapies, where I will not be advising Aaron Wise this week, advocating Aaron Wise. I won't be advising him either. He's not going to talk to me. But
maybe he should.
I don't think he should. You've seen me play before, Scott. That would be a bad idea.
Here comes the Jeff Erickson sandbagging his golf game speech.
Yeah. Only because you're the master sandbagger at golf, your own golf game there. Who do we like in the cheapies, guys? The 6,000 range. Who do we like? Jeff, you went first last time. Scott, who do you like?
2 guys that jumped out to me, and one is a guy that I talked about last week, and he made the cut, is Russell Knox at 6,800. He's actually priced down this week, but 33rd in Phoenix, but hit it really well. Gained 4.3 tee to green, 4.7 approach. Hit it great at Pebble. Hit it great at Sony. Like all 3 of the 4 tournaments he played in 2022, really good tee to green and approach numbers. And you got to be a ball striker this course in this tournament. If you take just the last 12 rounds, you kind of go with how guys are playing really recent form. He's actually 2nd in the whole field in shot gain approach. When you talk about all these top 10 players, that's pretty impressive how well he's hitting the ball right now. Another guy that he just kind of putt average, I think he makes the cut and is a really good value for 6,800. And my other guy is another kind of recent form. I'm always looking for recent form in the 6,000. I want guys who are hitting the ball well. Sebastian Munoz was 23rd at Phoenix, but lost 4 strokes putting. Like he hit the ball really well, just putted really poorly. He gained 9.7 tee to green and 3.7 off the tee and approach. Hit the ball really well. He was 39th at Farmers, so made the last couple cuts on a similar course. I think at 6,700, I like Knox a little bit more, but I think Munoz is really playable too.
So my rookie of the week. So now that Sahith Theegala has captured the hearts and minds of golf fans, I am now turning to, I think the guy who was the most hyped of the rookie class is now lurking down there at $6,400. Taylor Pendrith has the pedigree. He was, out of anybody, kind of labeled as the next big star to come on tour. He's in the top 10 in driving distance on tour, and he's made a couple of cuts, last 2 cuts he's made. So maybe it's coming around. I do agree, Jeff. The big game certainly helps at this golf course. The stats don't lie. And you're talking about a guy who's in top 10 in distance off the tee. Maybe the star arrives this week. I think he's worth a shot at that price. If you're going to round out the lineup, back up a Justin Thomas or a Patrick Cantlay, you need somebody down here. So,
all right,
the rookie.
Cool. I've got 2 other guys I want to ask you about in this range. Wyndham Clark, big hitter, that llama, 316 on average off the tee. I think if I recall seeing his name on leaderboards at this course in previous years. I got to double check on that, but I would say that, check the final results before you just go with my recollection, but didn't even play there last year. So good job, Jeff. No, he did. He played.
He did.
And
He finished eighth. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna give you props, but you got yourself there.
I just read the wrong line. But the other thing that's kind of interesting is that experience usually pays off in this course. And I think no winner has played there less than twice since Adam Scott first won it, or something like way long time ago, obviously, that it's been like this. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But a guy that has great experience at this course, but has lousy recent form, is James Hahn at 6,500. Is recent. Usually we say recent form instead of, course history. Do we say that here?
He certainly, at 6,500, he certainly has the course history to fall back on a little bit. I mean, you're right. He's missed 4 straight cuts, so that's a little rough. But I mean, if you want to play recent form, it's the guy to do it. What was he? He was 15th last year, and he won it a few years ago. Right? He was 13th the year before. Like, has great form. I think he's an LA guy too, so maybe that works out. But I'd probably go. If I had to pick between the two, I'd probably play Wyndham Clark and his length over Hahn. But yeah, I can see both of them being usable. I think Hahn will be pretty popular down here too, just because of the fact that everybody's talking about Genesis. But I mean, he's 6,500, not going to be that popular. But yeah, he's a tough one to figure out because you have to weigh that recent form against course history. Yeah,
but if you're going to get a 10 and a 9, you have to get a 6.
You do,
and a low 7. Yep. And it's tough to fit it all in. So I think you're right that Hahn will be popular. Bubba is going to be insanely popular this week. Yep. Probably a lot of people in one and done as well. So that's a perfect launching point. We're running a little long, so let's jump right into. Let's do our betting sheets real quick, and then we'll do one and done. So Jeff Ritter, who do you got on your betting sheet this week?
Taking a little bit of Jenstad's thunder, but Rory McIlroy slipping over 20-1, 22-1. That's too long of odds for Rory McIlroy, so I won in on that. I'm on Victor Hovland 25-1, and I like. I'll go with Fitzpatrick also 40-1. Where's Will Z? Where is he at?
28-1 on DraftKings.
Okay, yeah, that's probably fair. I think Fitzpatrick's underpriced. I see him at 40-1 on golf odds. I don't know if he's there at DraftKings, but
and the thing is, again, shop around. You're going to find that they're going to vary, and B, that they change pretty quickly. Especially in these to win bets, I've noticed that. Like, what we'll even have, RotoWire will have a thing where there's 4 books, and it'll give you the best odds on each golfer, but those can change really fast. By the time you see it, it might be down a little bit. So,
and it's a small enough world where there's some popular people who do podcasts and pick, and when they put their picks out, you see lines actually move. It's pretty wild how that can happen in golf.
We like to call that the Jenstad effect.
That is definitely not the Jenstad effect.
No, not yet. Not yet. It's the Mayo effect, but yeah. Anyways, we love Pat Mayo, so I'm happy to mention his name, even though not even though I'm happy to mention his name. He's a good guy, and he's a great analyst too. All right, Scott, who's on your betting sheet?
So I'm going to kind of go with the strategy I had last week of kind of not playing the guys under 20-1, so I can play a few more names. I'm going to play Rory at 22-1 for sure. I'm going to play Xander at 22-1 also. I know it hasn't happened, but I think it's coming. I mean, he's hitting the ball so well. All his ball striking numbers last week were so good. Then I'm going to drop down. I'm going to play Adam Scott at 45-1. If I can find Fitzpatrick at 40-1, I think I'd play that also. And then I'm going to drop back with a couple of darts. I'm going to play Thomas Peters at 70-1. I think for that number, he actually has a chance to win. This is a tournament that's really hard to win because there's so many big names. You're not going to get a lot of late darts they're going to make into runs like some of these tournaments we've seen so far. But I think Peters has the game. He's played Ryder Cups. He's won twice recently. So I think it's 70-1. That's a pretty good number. And then just pure FOMO play, I'm going to put a couple bucks on Keegan at 150-1 because if he were to win and I didn't have a couple bucks on him, I'd really regret it later.
There you go. All right, one and done. Jeff, who are you going to say now and then put down later?
I'm going to make the pick right here in real time as I'm talking.
Okay.
It's done. I am submitting. I've just got a feeling he was playing as some of the best golf as anybody in the world and just kind of stunk last week. Missed the cut. Victor Hovland, It's time for Hovland to win one of these. He's been winning around the world here and there. I like him. He's going to win.
I think this is one of those weeks when you want to get a great player that you can win the tournament. It's 2.1 million to 2.16 million to the winner. So like it's up there with majors. This is a tournament that you definitely, if you can get a win, you can move way up in your pools. I'm going to go with what I've been talking about. I'm going to go with Rory McIlroy this week. I think he plays overall well here. I know he missed it last year, but I think he plays well here. I think I like the form in Europe, and I think it's going to be a big Rory year. And I think he's going to start right here with a win at Genesis.
You know what? Jeff Ritter, you were talking up Patrick Cantlay earlier in the show. You persuaded me. I was going to go Colin Morikawa, but then Jeff Ritter said, "Oh, I think Cantlay should be the highest priced golfer here." I don't think people are going to take Cantlay in the one and done. I'm going to take him now.
Probably not, actually.
I love that pick. He's playing so well. One of these weeks, he's gonna get it done.
Somebody's going to lotto, and I think a lot of people will actually be on Rory because they're like, "Oh, I finally get a chance to take Rory." I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but I love Rory too. I'll be playing him in DK, but for one and done, I'm just going to be a little bit different.
I like it.
If I didn't go Rory, I would go JT. Those are my two favorite guys this week overall, I think.
All right, there you go. There you have it. Any other thoughts before we go log off for today?
Sorry about your Bengals.
It's okay,
but I'm glad you got to see it in person. That's still it had to have made it a little easier, right? To just be there.
You know what? It did. I was really unhappy, of course, that we lost, bummed out, but not devastated. And maybe it's because I got to go. I had this great experience, got to take my daughter. She'll remember that forever. That's pretty awesome. It hurts because you see the plays that could have been different. You see the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Like, I know Chase was open on the last play. Don't tell me that. I know that too soon. You say the name P. Ryan, I'm going to get angry with you. But, and it's no offense against Smaji. Just don't use him there. Use your best players. But anyways, I digress. It was an amazing experience. It's a bucket list thing. I probably won't ever do it again, even if the Bengals go, because it is stupid expensive. But man, everything that came together this year, it made it like it is the obvious time to go if I was ever going to go. So I'm glad I did it.
Nice.
Did you see the picture on Twitter of the one guy at the Super Bowl who was had the golf tournament on his phone? Because that guy's my hero right there. I love that.
Yeah, I did not see that, but that's awesome.
I wanted to I knew where you were sitting at, so I knew it wasn't your angle, so I knew it wasn't you. But I love that someone had the playoff on during the game. That fired me up. That
is great.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for Gaming Golf. Good luck on your lineups. Good luck on your bets. Let us know if you win. Love hearing the feedback, and let us know if anything else you want us to cover when we do this podcast. We are happy to cover for you here. So thanks again for listening. Good luck at the Genesis.